Okay. Firstly, thank you everybody for listening to our first couple of presentations. We try and keep them as short as possible. There's a lot of detail in one small town. And if you want to get involved to a deeper level, then there is a lot of this you would need to know. On the surface of it, for most people within a town, what they need to know is that they contribute 3 hours a week to either one of the businesses owned in the town or to one of the community projects that the town runs, and for that they receive benefits and affinity tokens. On the very surface, that's what we're doing. We're setting up community businesses and organising community projects, very much like a lot of people are doing in this room and beyond already. And I should clarify, we're not talking about a new town here. We're not building a new town. We have existing towns that are great, and we want to keep them. And the problem is that a lot of assets within those towns are dying. If you look at the high streets in many places now, there's boarded up shops, there's boarded up factories. We want to try and rejuvenate a lot of that. We don't need to build new ones. We just need to make better use and good use of the assets that we've currently got. So we're not going to ask you to move to the Outer Hebrides, to join in a new town that we're building. We're doing this within our own towns, within your town. And hopefully after we presented the One Small Town Hub to you, it might give you another bit of inspiration as to why you might want to start that in your town. So we'll go through that now. So over the last couple of years for me and the last 5 years for Giulia, we've learned a lot of lessons along the way. We've tried a lot of things. We've spoken to a lot of people, and yeah, we've learned a lot. So we've managed to get this far, and all the time in the background, all that time, we've been building up the technology. Because One Small Town isn't just something Giulia and I are doing here. It's a worldwide venture. It's just that over here, we want to do it as one of the first to get this up and running. So there's a team in South Africa that Giulia mentioned earlier. They've been working on the technology. The recycling in particular is one that is working now. So these kinds of technologies will be coming over here to us, and that will provide us with some really good base funding that we can start to work within our towns. So yeah, we've learned a lot of lessons. But during that time as well, we know that communities are losing more of the ability to connect. I think you guys are quite fortunate here in that you have a number of groups that are still closely knit and work together very well. A lot of places are losing that kind of connection, and that's not good enough, quite honestly. We need to ensure that there's still cohesion within communities and with like-minded individuals as well. And we're losing the ability to provide for ourselves. You know, we're losing the farmers, we're losing the goods and services that we produce here for us overseas, and goods and services are being taken from us. So we want to make sure we retain those really important assets and means to be sustainable for ourselves. If they're in the hands of somebody else, then that means they have a say over what happens, and we don't want to allow that really. So we are planning on finding a place for our One Small Town British hub, and this will be a place where, much like community centres these days, you can meet, you can share, you can build projects, aim to build businesses, and really work towards becoming prosperous within your town. That way we can become more connected, more self-sufficient in what we do, and we can create a plan in that town with a team within that town that understand the town and want it to prosper, and they can create plans accordingly. So why is it different? Well, there's a lot of community centres in the British Isles. In fact, I think in Great Britain there's something like 21,000 community centres. Now there's a vast array of different types. Many of them are church halls. Many of them, are like this kind of space. Many of them are just small rooms, and some are larger local authority-run organisations. So there's quite a vast array of different types of community centres, and a lot of them have a particular focus. They might focus on youth, or they might focus on mental health and these kind of areas. And a lot of them have particular boundaries. So you can see from the list here, they often have a local focus. sometimes about a particular issue or a range of issues, whereas ours is a national focus. So I mentioned earlier that we will be expanding the hub network, so that way we'll be able to reach more areas. And a lot of hubs, particularly the private run ones, they rely on volunteers. And it's difficult to get volunteers, and it's difficult to retain them. The volunteers often don't get something in return other than they're giving their time, which is great, but we'd like to give them something. Well, that's where the Infinity token comes in. They get a reward for providing their time in the community centre, in the hub. But also, because they're members as well, they'll benefit from anything that the town creates, the goods and services part. Most hubs are not for profit either, and if our hub makes a profit, that profit will be driven back into the network. So it will be used to provide a dividend for members, or it will be used to fund projects, more community businesses. There'll be a town team that will oversee these projects. And at a very base level, a lot of community centres will provide a certain range of services, and so will ours. So we're not reinventing the wheel with this. We realise a lot of base services are provided already. But what we are going to do is we're going to take the idea of the hub and we're going to take it to the next level. And the reason we can do that is because of the one small town model. And hopefully that'll become a little bit clearer as I go through more of the slides for you. So we've designed this connected plan that has 4 main modules to it. That's the community cafe, I mentioned that earlier, where you got your free coffee. The event space, where you can go and look at free events, or you can provide training, or you can be trained on various, on all kinds of aspects. We have the One Small Town store, where you can trade your Infinity tokens, or even just use fiat currency. And we have the wellness centre as well, where we'll be able to provide a range of services. And even that will be expanded, so I'll come to that shortly. Those core services, as you can see, expand out to other services as well. And this is just a basics. So it expands beyond this, which you'll notice shortly. So really, we'll be providing that, but also we have what we like to think is the 5th module. And that is that it will be the home of One Small Town in Great Britain. So where our hub is will be a centre where we can coordinate all of the One Small Town activities, where we can look to expand into further hubs. And we're going to go through those modules and how we are planning for them. So let's start with the cafe then. I mentioned the cafe earlier. You're all still thinking of this free coffee that you're getting. In fact, we've had a drink as well, so that's good. And in most community centres, the cafe or the tea room is often the beating heart of the community centre. And ours is no different. We'll be doing that as well. And like other hubs, we'll be providing the foods and drinks and beverages and other provisions as well. And we'll be providing healthy foods, which a lot of hubs now do. And the cafe is also where you'll find out everything that's happening in the town. So it'll be your shared community space. You'll find out what community activities are being undertaken. You'll find out what businesses are being started, what skills are needed, what talents the centre is looking for. You'll find out what events are happening in the event space and how you can get involved with that, or how you can participate and give events. And it'll also be a meetup place for local groups. So there'll be a sort of OST think tank with committees for the youth, committees for men, committees for women, all kinds of committees that can come together and decide what kinds of projects they can do for a particular part of the community. And this is where we go on to the extra part. So Cafe Extra, as well as providing cafe services, we're going to expand out. So we'll also be able to provide cafe, coffee, tea services for any events that we're running in the building, in the event space. But it'll also be a sales outlet, so we'll be able to sell food and produce on there as well. It'll also be used to cater at local events, so we can send a team out to provide catering. And also we'll be using it to cater for local companies as well. They can outsource their catering and we can take advantage of that. And that'll be another OST business that we can look at setting up. And even mobile catering vans are an option as well. So we're looking not only at providing services in the centre, but we're looking at taking them outward as well. So what do we need for that? We need a space for a cafe, a reasonable size catering area. You can kind of get a picture of the sort of things we would need. We need a cafe manager, and they'd be on salary, and we'd need a few employees that are full-time, and the rest would be helped by members, and member contributions would fill a lot of that labour gap. In the event space, this is an important part. A bit like here, it's a place that draws people in. They come for a variety of events, and when they come to the hub, they'll be able to see what it is we're doing. They'll be able to see One Small Town in action, a demonstrable model. They'll wonder what the token is. They'll wonder why the events are free for members. And that's a place where we can start to share what we're doing. And once we're sharing it, they too might join as members if they're local. They might decide to go to their town and start inquiring after whether they want to start a One Small Town there. So it's important, but it's primarily acts as a venue. So, so we'll undertake a number of events. There'll be speaking events, corporate meetings, training. There'll be knowledge sharing. We're looking at something called a Wisdom Academy, where those in the community that have a knowledge in a certain area will be able to share that knowledge. There'll be talks on health and law and culture and history and many other subjects that members can attend. It will also have the potential for art exhibitions. We are changing the way that art works because an artist creates a piece of work, they sell it once, and then the artwork is sold on time and time again, usually or often at a greater profit. Whereas we're tokenizing the art that they create in non-fungible tokens, so that each time that art is sold on, a proportion of that goes back to the original artist. So we're going to kick that off with our own art gallery, where we will invite artists that are members as well, that have created some great works, and we're going to show them in our event spaces as art gallery work. They will also be around the centre, so wherever it's appropriate, we'll be showcasing their artwork, which will be available for sale. Now, I should mention at this point that this is classed as a One Small Town activity. So if you want to sign up as a member, you don't have to sign up as a member. If you don't want to be a member, that's fine. Lots of people are signing up as members. We'd love it if you did too. If you want to sign up as a member at onesmalltown.org, it doesn't cost you anything, and then you will be a member in waiting. You'll be what we kind of call a dormant member. And if One Small Town comes to your town, you'll be alerted, and you'll be asked if you can contribute your 3 hours. So it's worth signing up for that purpose. Now, if you want to go a step further, you don't need a membership card, but it's nice to have one. And it might help in the future because we'll be using membership cards to sign in and out of activities that we're doing. So if you do want a membership card and you definitely intend to sign up, then you can collect one from the desk. And they have instructions on there of how to sign up as well and attach your membership card number to your membership. It only takes a couple of minutes to sign up as a member. So because of that, every member that attends their first event for their first 3 hours, you get your token because you've attended, you've contributed 3 hours to the community, but there's also a 100 token bonus as a starting point for every member. So once you complete your first 3 hours, that 100 tokens then lands in your wallet. And then you can start trading with these tokens. You haven't just got one. So that's worthwhile if you want to sign up as a member, and you'll get that as well. So events also go beyond the hub. Now, we'll be organising larger outdoor events. You guys have a great field, a couple of fields here that you use, I'm sure, to good effect to have outdoor events on there. We obviously want to do a similar thing. And we'll be going out wider as well. So we'll be looking to put on festivals. We'll be looking to put on marathons and sports events and all kinds of other events far wider in the area. And we'll have a team in place I'm saying all this, it's not just me and Giulia that are going to do this. That'd be amazing, right? But, there will be teams of people in the town that are organising this. And one of those is likely a good events coordinator, and they will be able to take on the task with a committee or a smaller team, and they'll be able to organise all these fantastic events for us using their 3 hours contribution time. So also many of these events, they can be filmed as well as content, and we can push that content out so more people get to hear about what we're doing, about how it works, and then maybe they'll become members. And those members might go back to their town, decide they want to do the same thing. Then we come to wellbeing, and we're very keen to include a wellbeing element to the hub. Now, we have the PHA, they're here today, and I think they do a fantastic job. I think we can all agree. And we want to be able to do a healing element that complements what they're doing and runs alongside it. So this will include holistic healing therapies, and it's obvious that there's a wealth of talent on the wellbeing side. In the membership, we have a high proportion of people that are into very natural kind of wellbeing products and services. So, in fact, a lot of them are members that are connected to One Small Town already. So it's only right that we put an element in there that takes advantage of that wealth of knowledge and experience that we can then use in the hub. So we can link with the event space, so we can put on group training, so we can put on group therapies as well. We can link into corporates and provide external corporate services for well-being for their staff. And remember, we're working on having a network of hubs. So the therapists that work in our hub can also work in the next one and in the next one, and have around hubs, a round robin of hubs that they can move around to provide more services for every single community. So we think that'd be a great advantage. We can include one-to-one consultations. We can include what Giulia mentioned earlier about our technology, which is the rife therapy machines, the oxygen therapy, and the pain genie, which I think is exclusive for us as well. And we'll be looking to create a wellness team. Again, not just Giulia and myself. There'll be a team of people that are far more accomplished and experienced in this kind of area that will be taking that on and creating wellness plans and being able to plan out schedules for people and bookings. So then there'll be extra, and I kind of covered a bit of this in the last slide, but there's a whole range of extra services. The off-site health services that I mentioned. There's also retreats and health conferences that we could organise and arrange. There's wellness days, and as I mentioned, we can offer services for local businesses as well. There's also online programs as well that we can design and put online for members who want to learn more about various aspects of health. What we hope this will lead to is dedicated health centres in a variety of hubs, where we can introduce some of the advanced healing technology that we've got coming down the pipeline and ones that we have in the future. So that way we can start to be preventative instead of reacting. So that's our plans for the Wellbeing Extra. And we can do it now. So I mentioned online, and we'll be able to do that. So with a specialist team, we can start to put out content that is utilising that nationwide network of members. Imagine the host of subject matter that we could cover if all of those were to put some of their expertise in video format and in other formats. So we can, and we are looking potentially at organising a launch online of these kind of health areas. And this takes people, this takes people and members contributing their time and their skills, being able to put forward ideas, not just point at us and say, hey, I've got a great idea, but actually coming to us with a plan and saying, would this work? Can we talk about this? And if it looks like a good plan, then we'll look at integrating it. And then there's the trading store, and Giulia outlined a lot of what the trading store can do already. And this is where the Infinity token can be used. Now, you might look at the Infinity token and think, well, it is just a token. It's just like a rewards points card, right? And it is. Right now it is. It's a bonus. It's an added reward for contributing your 3 hours. At some point in the future, though, who knows what might happen regarding fiat money? At some point, the tap might be switched off, or you might find it difficult to get at it. And in your town, if you had another means of exchange, wouldn't you want to take it? Well, it's our hope that the Infinity token starts to be used within town, within every town. So you can't just then exchange goods and services with the people in your town for Infinity tokens. You can do it in every town, whichever town's got a one small town working and up and running in that town. Now we're talking further in the future, not necessarily, we're not talking tomorrow. But if we're earning these tokens at some point, they might come in more valuable than we think. So because we are using the store, we can use the Infinity tokens. You use your membership card to trade in and trade out goods. And this thing can include pre-loved goods as well, a range of services, and farm produce is an important one. And because we operate on time contributed, there's no wage bill to pass on apart from some perhaps key members of staff. So there's a lot of savings for members and non-members. We're not saying we're only going to supply to members. There'll be non-members all the time coming into the store to purchase goods. Well, that all goes towards the profitability of the store. And you can use fiat currency in the store. It's not just Infinity tokens. So it'll be a beautiful store. It'll have a list of curated items from local suppliers, food items, homemade jams. Imagine sort of garden centre meets farm shop, all those kind of really nice products that you want to purchase, because we'll have a good quality level. And there'll be soaps and skincare and cosmetic and all those kind of stuff. And often it depends on how big the store is. The bigger the premises, the bigger the store, the more we can offer to members and others as well. They'll have ethical fashion in there. Giulia mentioned the fashion part of it earlier. We'll be incorporating that in there. The health products and also the local art. Remember, we're trying to make it better for artists. So we'll have that in there too. We can have Meet the Maker evenings. We can have pop-up shops. There's a range of stuff we can do from the trading store. And in the extra, we'll be expanding this, so we'll be connecting with local farmers initiatives. We'll be distributing to a wider network of farms and table produce. So remember, the local farms can deliver to the store, their local hub. Their local hub will take what they need and they'll distribute the rest out through all the other chain of hubs. It allows a much greater reach for each farmer. But all we need to do is go and collect a van's worth or whatever per day, and then we're able to then provide this food. And obviously we'll always make it so that it's profitable for farmers to be able to do that. And we can, because we have much lower labour costs. There'll be furniture upcycling, and our store will be an ecosystem of products and anything that we can add into it that we think brings value. And then there's the art gallery, which I've already talked about extensively, so I won't go through all of this, but we have begun the art gallery already. It's on the platform, and we have artists that are submitting their work and testing the platform just to make sure everything works okay. And then we're going to roll that out for every other artist. And this includes things like sculptors and makers of other things. And they're paid a royalty every time their artwork is sold, which I think is important. So this brings it all together, really. If we have all this in one place, that would be our ideal scenario. It doesn't have to be. It could be nearby each other. But it makes sense to have these kind of things in one place because of a number of other bonuses, which I'll come on to. So you might understand what cross-selling is, and you do this all the time. So anyone that buys a drink in the cafe, they might then go and buy something from the store. If you go into have an event and it's on a wellness subject, you might then purchase one of the therapies that are on offer, or you might buy some health products from the store. There's a lot of cross-selling that goes on for members and non-members as well. So really, we are providing an event space where we can do consultations, knowledge sharing, health-related events, and law and all kinds of other subject areas. We'll be holding meetings and community meetings as well. We'll have natural foods that are in the cafe. The cafe is a meeting place. It's where you go and get your free coffee, right? And whatever else is available. And we'll have artwork on display around the centre. There'll be local products in the store. There's the online product store as well, which we'll start to use. There's the wellness centre and all the therapies that are included in that. And beyond that, we'll be doing community activities and we'll be starting community businesses. There's a lot to do. And the more members that we can get within a town, the more we can do. So it's worthwhile sharing with people the information. If you like what you're seeing here, it's worthwhile sharing this information, telling them about what the plan is, because then they might also become members. And the bigger the team grows, the more gravity that this has in your town, the more it's much more likely to grow quicker. So there's a business plan for the hub. We've figured out a business plan. It breaks even after the first year. It's profitable by year 2, which for something of this size is pretty good. And why is that? Well, it's because a lot of the labour costs are taken out. And so we're able then to save a lot of that money. And we can pass that on to our members. Exactly as Michael Tellinger has pointed out. There'll be a Q&A session after this one, so don't worry, we'll come to that. If you want to hang on till the Q&A, and we'll cover that for you. So what we have done is we've done a conservative estimate. This is just a graphic, but we've done a conservative estimate. Now, the estimates that we're working on for the plan take into account the basic services that we want our hub to work under. We haven't taken into account all of the hub extras. So it's running at a profit in year 2 for our members, but also that's not including the added services we're going to be building up over that first year. So it's important then for us to hire the right centre staff and the teams involved that can facilitate all of that and put it in place. And that comes from the local area. And as we're using the platform more and more, it means everything that happens in this hub is transparent. It's on the platform. Everyone can see in their community how the hub is performing and whether they need to say something about it or not. So we're also adding the business plans to the platform as blueprints. So if another hub in another area or another team want to provide a hub, well, we have a ready-made plan here. We'll need tweaking and changing. And it will probably be the case that they have a different type of building or they have different needs. Maybe they've got a sports module they want to introduce. Great, well, that's another blueprint. And they can pull these blueprints out from the platform, tweak them as they need them, and then be able to get up and running quicker with a ready-made plan. We'll be doing that, by the way, with all of our local businesses as well, where we provide a blueprint of a business plan that is they can take off the shelf, change to their needs. And yes, we have a marketing strategy as well. We'd be crazy not to have one. I'm not going to go through this slide with you, but suffice to say, we do have a plan in place to provide all kinds of content. And again, we need the correct members with the correct skills in place to be able to deliver. We're building OST distribution. So I mentioned earlier, in the day in the life of that you pass a driver who is on their way to the next hub. Well, that's how this works. Each hub will have its own transport. That would be our aim. They then transport goods to that next hub, the nearest hub to them. They in turn transport to the next one and so on. So we're building up this network infrastructure, which is not easy to do in areas like haulage. You need a big network of hubs to be able to do it. That just means that everything that we produce and farm and make has a further reach for sending out, for selling and for making more profit for members. Because I don't know if we mentioned, but aside from all the benefits that members get of stuff that's made in the town, members also receive a share of the profits. So once the profits are made, then any that aren't fueled back into community initiatives and businesses is shared equally. It's a bit like a cooperative, right? So any of those profits are shared back equally amongst all the members in that town. So in time, we'll be able to generate the right funds. Maybe there'll be a bus service. You know, depending on how well we can do this, depends on what we can then add on later. And this is why we need the right people in place. We want to be secure as well. We want our communities to be secure. We want our members to be secure. So for that reason, there will be members that contribute their time to provide security in their area. They might just be patrolling the streets. They might have a knowledge on the right type of law that they can implement in our streets to keep us all safe. We will own assets. The community owns the assets. And it's right that we protect those assets as well. So we'll make sure that they're kept safe. So where's it going to be? Where do we want this hub to be? It has to depend on a number of factors. So we outlined the vision for the hub, but it depends on a number of factors like location. It's got to be accessible. It's got to be near a suitably sized population centre or a group of population centres. It has to be a fairly larger building. The larger the building, yes, the greater the lease cost, but the more we're able to do within that building. We have preferences too. So we want parking, right? Because we're going to hold events. So ideally, we want some parking around the building. And we don't want it to be out of the way. We want it to be reasonably prominent in the town so that people can find it. Depends what skills are in the area. We'll need a town team in the area. We'll need a town ambassador who's helping to drive all of these projects in place. And so it might be an old school, an old hotel, maybe a pub. It might be a converted barn or a warehouse. Any building, it might be an old mill. It could be any building that you might look at and say, can I see what this hub and the modules in that hub would look like in that building? And if the answer is yes, then tell us about it. Now, in fact, we do. We drive around pointing at buildings saying, oh, that'd be a nice hub. And that's great, but that's not going to help. If you know of a building, if you own a building that you think, actually, that would make a really good hub, it meets roughly the criteria we need, and we're able to speak to the owners and arrange a lease and all that kind of stuff, then send us the contact details. We'll talk to them. We'll find out whether it's suitable or not, and whether we can arrange it. And this is where members can start to help, because we presented here what our hub looks like. And it might be an existing hub, it might be an old mill, whatever it is. If you can see the One Small Town hub in that building that you're staring at the bottom of your street, what that means is that's where we start. So that's where One Small Town begins. That's where you can contribute your time. That's the place where there's a lot of members around the world for One Small Town. There's a lot of interest around the world for One Small Town. They want to see the first One Small Town hub and they want to visit it. So then that would be the place that provides the demonstrable model, the blueprint for One Small Town in their area. Now, you might want that to be your town, and I hope you do, because maybe there's an ideal building there that we can adopt and we can start using. So let us know and we'll explore all of the other options. And then we come to the crowdfunding for the token. Is that you or is that me?
I think we've already mentioned it a fair bit.
I think you mentioned this part, haven't you?
Yes.
So then it's about taking action. So I've mentioned, we need a building, yes. But first of all, we need to start from the very basics. If you like what you are hearing today, then please become a member. We have more and more members signing up in the UK all the time. We're fast approaching one of the countries with one of the highest numbers of members. And it would be great to continue that climb. When you sign up as a member, there's an option on the platform where you can extend your role. I think Giulia mentioned this earlier, and there's a list of different kinds of roles that you can undertake. So you can be an ambassador, there's a coordinator, there's part of the support team. And we haven't got every single job on there, but we've got a selection. And then if you have any more, you can extend your role. So you can tell us what your skills and your talents are. Because when you contribute your time in the town, we don't just stick you on aisle one in the supermarket, right? We want you to use your skills and your talents in an area that would benefit us most. So if we know what they are and your town knows what they are, then they'll be able to make best use of those talents. And we'll need to build a plan for the area. If you have a team, from day one, we're going to need to sit down and figure out what the town has already that we can use, what we can build, who we have available. All of these aspects need to be planned out. And we work out a 12 to 24 month plan that involves all the kind of projects that you would want to start. And obviously, the usual things, the socials, sign up on the newsletter, look at the social media. We have YouTube channels that you can sign up to. There's, I think, Facebook and Telegram channel as well. So sign up to those. We're happy to put on things like Zoom calls and more member interaction in the future as well. So we'll be looking to do that. And really just to round all this up, Once More Town is building in the UK. We think it's a very good system, particularly with the OST hub that we can introduce, and we think it'll be a great asset for the heart of Britain. We can run it with the right staff, with the right organisational setup that Giulia mentioned earlier. We're working on all of that in the background. We have a plan. We have business plans, and we have marketing plans for marketing strategy on how we're going to roll this out. And we have a central place for all of the activities that Once More Town can hold in that town. So there will be a funding token that will come out at some point. Giulia mentioned the technology token. Well, there'll be a similar funding token for the hub. When that comes out, we'll be sharing that across newsletters, across our YouTube channel, so that people can start to get involved by becoming an investor in that particular project in our first hub. And that helps us then to fund for that first initial hub. Okay, so that outlines the hub for you. I think what we're going to do now is there's a lot of information in Once More Town. We don't expect everyone to understand all of it straight away. In fact, a lot of you might not need to understand that much other than, oh, okay, this is starting in my town. I sign up as a member. I'll be asked to put in 3 hours a week. I might want to be on one of the committees. I might want to maybe drive some of the projects. And if you do, then you'll need to know more about how Once More Town works. So absolutely do your homework. I don't know how much you've absorbed from this evening, but go away and have a look at the YouTube channels. Go on the website. There's a number of videos on the website that answers a lot of the common type of questions. And there's a lot of pages on there that you can read to understand more as well. So with that said, we have a roving mic here. So just give us a second, because we're going to get a roving mic around so we can hear what your question is.
Okay. So when I went on the website, the first thing I came across was a paywall.
Right.
Me to pay.
There's no paywall to be a member.
So that's what I experienced. So,
Okay.
And I need to find out what that's about.
Right.
Obviously, I did not pay anything.
No, it's completely free to be a member. So yeah, you can just sign up as a member. What you might have seen is that you can purchase Infinity tokens if you want to. Now, you might have seen where there's an option to buy Infinity tokens. You don't have to as a member. You have to buy any. So you can just sign up for free.
Well, I clicked on Become a Member, if I recall correctly. I clicked on Become a Member, and then the next thing that happened was a paywall.
No, there's no paywall past becoming a member.
Okay, that's fine. The other question is regarding the information that we're asking. So apart from name and address and so on, they were asking for a form of ID, like passport. Yeah. And that concerned me. And for that reason alone, if that is necessary, unless I have a very good explanation that I can accept, sure, I would think twice about becoming. Yeah, sure. We've had this question before, and it's a fair question. Now, there are laws involved in what we're doing. Because we are dealing with people's details, because the financial regulator or authority wants to get involved, there are certain details we have to collect. There's that side of it. There's also the fact that we have a digital wallet with your tokens in.
So any tokens that you earn, we want to make sure that's safe and it's just for you. Now we don't want the details, to be fair. We just need to be able to satisfy certain regulations that are in place, and we want to ensure that your wallet is kept for you and that no one can go on there as you and try and get your tokens or anything devious that they might want to try. That's the reason why. Now, because of that, you don't have to be a member. If that's something that you don't want to do, that's fine. It's just something that we have to as a requirement. I think Giulia might want to add something.
Can I just add? Thank you, that's a great question. There you are. The other reason for asking for your details is because we will be sharing profits. And also the tokens have a value to them. So we want to make sure that it really is you that the profit is going to, not an infiltrator. If there's no way of identifying you, then how can we possibly make sure that that every Fred Blogs is a real Fred Blogs, if that makes any sense at all? But yes, great question. Thank you for asking it.
Yeah, sure.
Does that? Oh, yep. Thank you.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I understand. It's just for a newbie who knew nothing about this. I go on the website, and all of a sudden I'm being asked for this private information without an explanation. So
Sure.
I understand where I'm coming from.
Do you know what we find is, it's a fair question. The way that I would push back a bit on that is I would say probably a lot of people in this room are signed up to Amazon. Probably a lot of people are signed up to Netflix. And we don't ask for half of the information that they ask for. And we're doing it for good purposes. So a lot of people are prepared to give their details to these larger corporations. And we just ask for the bare minimum so that we can get through the legislation we want to get through. So I hope you understand that if they have to ask, and they usually want far more, and we have no idea what they're doing with it. We ask the minimum because that's what we need in order to get us over the line. Remember, we're using the tools of enslavement as tools of liberation. We're playing the game. If that's what they need us to do, then that's what we'll do. So I hope that answers. Do you want to take this?
So I think you're just about to say something that I was about to follow up on. What you've raised is, and thank you for that, is that perhaps some better explanation or some more visible explanation is required on the website. So thank you very much. Is that your point as well, Russell? Yes.
Hi there.
Hello.
So there's a lot of talk about rewards and accumulation of profit and investment and business like corporation and the rest of it. So what I'm really interested in is what would a future world look like for non-members? For example, I think one of the obvious questions is that, what happens if you can't work, or you don't want to work, or you don't want to join, you don't want to become a member? What does the future world look like for non-members, and how can you ensure that that's a level within the space? Because obviously in one small town, people only give if they get a reward, whereas I think, personally, if you want to come to see from the world, the reward is in the giving, not in the getting a reward back.
Right.
Yeah.
So what would that future look like?
That's a lovely question. Thank you very much. So what we didn't go through in any great detail is the community projects. I did allude to them. So obviously we want to generate money so that we can make sure that we are secure and able to buy seeds, buy land, provide technology. But also those who can't work or don't want to work, there are community projects that we can set up where infinity tokens can be rewarded, but also that's the giving space. We're giving our time to these community projects.
Really, what it kind of sounds like is that you conform, you become a small town, or you're excluded.
Why are you excluded?
Giving your token to somebody else, and you really get water.
Yeah, I mean, fine. If everyone's getting a token,
If you don't want to be a member of One Small Town, that's fine. You don't have to be, and you will just carry on your life like you are doing. It's the One Small Town members that are putting in their time that will reap the benefits. And yeah, there are a lot of people, probably like yourself, who want to give their time freely. But we do also feel that those people need some reward for giving their time. You know, time is probably the most precious resource you've got. And if you're going to give it to a project or something else within that town, we feel you need something back for
It's
that.
kind of almost sort of like time, you know, so for example, I mean, if you have, you know, if you wanted to create a better world than you were, surely it must be an inclusive world, so that everybody, you know, sort of
Everyone's free to join. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, you conform.
There's no, I don't feel you're free to join. It's not about conforming. You're free
it's
to
not
join.
conforming.
What I'm saying is, you know, what does the world look like as a whole if you've got some people who are members and some people who are not?
Well, some people will carry on doing exactly what they're doing now, and those people that are members will probably largely carry on doing what they're doing now, but they will also receive benefits.
Yes, but
Yeah.
So there's you know, what about you talk about security and safety. What about unity and greed and jealousy and all the other traits that so far you have?
Well, I think all we can say is that you can join up as a member and receive the benefits, or you can decide you don't want to be a member, which is fine. No one's forcing you. We'll just carry on your life in the normal way. In fact, a lot of members, you know, we're not asking people to jump off a cliff, take a leap of faith that, hey, is it one small town or shall I quit my job and stop paying my mortgage? Those things will carry on. It's just that you're giving 3 hours to community projects. So it has to be people's choice. And for the reasons you've outlined, if they decide that they don't want to do that, then that's fine. So next question.
Yeah, sorry. Just really, is it going to be a mix of fiat and
Yes.
yes.
And how did you arrive at that kind of $5 value?
Right. So if you're putting in 3 hours, we had to figure out a way of what's the value of that 3 hours. Now, to us, there isn't really a value on your time, but people want to link it to a fiat currency. So we then said, okay, well, we'll peg that against the dollar. We'll figure out what 3 hours of work is worth in dollars, and it came out at around £40. They tested it globally, actually, but it came out at around just under $40. So as the token is used more, as we provide more 3 hours into the algorithms will grow. So it started off at $1, and it's now to $5, whatever it was. The more time we start putting in, the more that value of the token will increase. Now, will you ever realize the value of that? Who knows? It depends on how the token's used in the future. But that's why you're seeing a value on it.
Yeah, and it's feeling a bit crypto with that buying and selling, like how are you valuing it? I was thinking it was just a token, just like barter.
Yeah, it's more akin to you know, your Tesco points. It's more akin to that. It's just that your Tesco points sometimes buy you more of some things than they do of others once you've collected 1 million of them. But the reason it's not a crypto is because it's not floated on any kind of stock exchange or stock market. You can't earn a crypto token for putting in 3 hours effort. So it's very different in a lot of ways. So it's not open to the market. We don't. There's no big investors that are going to come in and drive it to rock bottom. The thing about crypto is it's very volatile. So it can crash any minute, and like any other fiat, you know, or type of currency, it can crash any time. The Infinity token can't do that. The algorithms won't allow it to do that. So.
And so do we have any of it as a physical book?
No, not yet.
So all of this is in the e-book mode?
Yes, so all of this is our vision for the UK. So Michael and I have created the hub as a way of getting started. What's happening in South Africa is the innovation projects. So there is a town, which I won't mention because the innovation is, you know, needed to be protected, but there's a town where the innovation is happening. But I'll say this again, just because the innovation is in South Africa, it doesn't belong to South Africa. When we bring it across here, it belongs to the community.
And to get that initial hub up and running, so let's say it's that would have to be obviously hard, you know, sterling. How do we raise that money? How does the investment work?
Okay, so the crowdfunding token that we've got allows us to donate or crowdfund for the hub. But the difference with the crowdfunding is that when the hub comes into profit, you are eligible, or those who fund it are eligible for the 30% net profit. Thank you for the question. Those were really good.
Yeah, thank you. We're going to try and get around as many as we can. We've got a little bit of time. So. If you can try and keep it as brief as possible, though, that means we can get around more people. And yes, I see you at the back. We'll get to you.
Okay, so in talking, Michael was talking about you do 3 hours, you get 1 free meal.
Slightly different.
Yeah.
That's Michael's experience of Once More Town is in South Africa. South Africa is a very different country to the UK. Now, we could say, or a town, if you're in Dorking or in another town, you could say, well, in our cafe, as soon as you put in 3 hours, we're going to give you a free meal. But they do that in South Africa because to have one meal in a lot of areas in South Africa is actually really important. A lot of people can't afford food. A lot of people can't afford shelter. So providing a meal to them, it's more akin over here of something like a soup kitchen. So when Michael talks in those sort of terms, that's because he's talking about their level of systems at the moment. For us, that might be, well, they can have a free slice of cake in the cafe. It might be that we can give them a meal. Maybe that's something that the community and the town decide is something they want to offer all the members. It's down to the town team, what they think the town can afford to give for members at any particular stage and what's suitable for them. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does, in the sense that how do you then ascribe $40 worth of value, okay, to one token for those 3 hours, and you deduct from that the cost of one slice of cake.
So at some point in the future, the Infinity token will be fractionalized. So then you won't work for 3 hours, get 1 Infinity token, and then it costs you 1 Infinity token to buy a pint of milk. You don't want to work 3 hours for a pint of milk. We hope the town will give you a pint of milk, okay? But if it doesn't, then the token will be fractionalized further so that a portion of that 1 Infinity token will be used. That hasn't happened yet. We don't have a need for it to happen yet, and that needs to be worked out more thoroughly. But that's something that will happen.
I think I might try and sort of put it in a different way, if that's okay. So the Infinity token is what you are rewarded for your 3 hours of contribution. But as well as the Infinity token, what we hope to factor into everything is a basket of goods. And the basket of goods could be the free coffee, or we've grown fruit and veg in the community garden that's excess, or there's services or events that could all be part of that basket of goods. So I think the meal is getting confused with what's being rewarded and the basket of goods, maybe. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Okay, so it's a detail, so I'm not going to go into it. Okay. So maximum 5 hours a week you can do. 15 hours a week.
3 hours a week.
You can do.
You can do as many.
You can do.
Maximum you are allowed to contribute 15 hours.
Yes.
Well, 3 hours a day. You can contribute.
Okay. So are you looking at local businesses becoming part of one small town, okay, and potentially having their staff become members, okay, work 15 hours for free, quote unquote, for 5 tokens, and the rest of the hours per day and per week, 25 hours, at 15 and 25 hours spent. Is that what you're looking at? Is that then the business that is becoming a one small town business, okay, suddenly switches to their staff contributing 3 hours?
They don't switch. Right, that's the key part. So if it's an existing business, they don't necessarily down tools one day as a standard business and then start up as a one small town business the next day. Usually there's an integration that has to happen. So, and also when we start a business, let's say we start a coffee shop and it needs to employ a few standard people. So there'll be the coffee shop manager. Then there might be 2 to 3 baristas or full-time staff. Part-time staff then are made up of members. So they don't have to do 3 hours a day, they can do 3 hours a week, and they'll come in for those 3 hours a week. And for that, they're a member, they then benefit from the goods. So I hope that answers your question. If it's a bit more complex than that, then maybe come and talk to us, only because of time and we want to get around as many questions. But hopefully that, for the most part, answers it for you.
Hello. I just wanted to ask you about your community projects. Have you or did you look at involving homeschooling projects? Have you had any experience in that already? Because we've got massive crises in this country with a lot of children being deregistered from school. Some will go back to school, some are staying out of school. And as part of a small town, as families with children, would that be something you'd look at?
We would love to look at that. What we require is the relevant people, and I think somebody mentioned a name. Wasn't you, was it Venetia that mentioned a name? No, somebody else mentioned a name that would help championing that. So all of these projects, what we need to set up is almost like think tanks, or I prefer to call them action tanks actually, so that we highlight all of these areas and actually look at ways that we can take those actions. Very important question. And what we really hope is that we can come up with some solutions for that.
I can just add a thing to that, which I think we will need to check, but I'm pretty sure if a child under the age of 16 wants to contribute towards One Small Town, then they can be a member, but it requires parental or guardian permissions. Their wallet will fill up with Infinity tokens, but they can't have it until they reach 16, and then it can transfer over. So I'm pretty sure the system's in place. Okay, thank you. Great question.
The lady bring that.
Hello.
Hello.
On the business plan, you went from 2025 to 2032. What were the actual numbers there, please?
Oh, what you were looking at there was just a graphic that I used to denote the. We do have a business.
Meaning then?
I'm sorry?
It had no meaning.
Well, it was symbolic, really, more than anything. If I had put the business plan up on there, there's a lot of pages to it, so it's just not going to be a thing. But
Well,
I'd be happy to share the business plan with you if you want to give us your email address, and I'll send it to you. Are you?
Do you have a number you can tell me?
Can't hear you.
Do you have a number you can tell me?
Well, I can tell you in the first year, we're due to break even after month 6. In the second year, we're due to make a profit. This is on the basic services. So on the basic services, the hub should be making around 80k in year 2 profit. That's EBITDA, by the way. So after that, then we will add on additional services. So every year thereafter, we should be increasing the profits.
So how many hubs altogether?
Well, I'm talking about one hub initially.
Right, so how many hubs do you want to do?
How many can we get?
Right, so it's obviously not a charity, so how much will you be taking from that, both of you?
Well, Giulia went through the figures for you. I don't know if you saw, but there's a 60-30-10 split on most businesses. The 10% is split between the town team, so that the town can run local projects as well. And then some of it goes towards the national One Small Town, and a small portion goes to the international. Those are so we can run things like the platforms, produce membership cards, and that kind of thing.
So how much do you expect to earn by 2032 each? What sort of money do you expect to make?
I'm sorry, I don't follow. Regarding?
Personally, how much money do you expect to make?
Me, personally?
Yes.
I volunteer. We do this voluntarily.
We do this voluntarily.
Right, you don't expect to make any money?
No, this costs me money right now. So in time there will be positions, and it may be that we will be kept on as those positions. What salaries there will be, I have no idea. But there won't be extravagant salaries.
But you put the business plan together, so you must have put that in the business plan.
Oh, you're talking about the salaries for the centre staff. That's different to us.
Right.
I think the best thing to do is if you email me, just to highlight that you've asked me these questions, then I can share the business plan with you, and then we can go through the details.
Yeah, we're just looking.
I feel like you're just trying to find something out. It's all transparent, so we're not going to hide anything. But I don't have all the figures off the top of my head. I've given you the ones I do know. The rest is in something like 30 pages of business plans. So, you know, by all means, go through it and scrutinise it. If you're a business planner, by the way, that would be awesome. You know, please help us to refine this further if it needs refining, to help us to see what areas we can improve on and what we can add to it. If you can do that in a positive way, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, we do need to get through the questions. But by all means, email me. Thank you.
Ladies, three ladies.
Thank you. It seems to be like a combination of lots of initiatives that have happened at the beginning.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm just trying to see you.
That have happened in the past over the world. In the UK, we had LETs, local economy trading schemes. We have bricks and pound and Buttery pound, all sorts of local currencies, transition towns, even John Lewis partnership with development of same philosophy. I'm just wondering, I'd like to see what has been learned from all those things, what's happened to LETs, for instance. So what have you learned from those so that you learn to the work? And then the other question I have is about this is the top down and bottom up. So if someone wants to start off with a group, locally, would they invite it to the national level, international level, partner stuff, or do they get going?
We can get going. Okay, first question is,
Do you want to answer it?
is why we feel ours is different. So I'm aware of the Bradbury pound and the Stroud pound and Green Shield stamps or whatever you want to call it. Why we feel this is more secure and different is because it is on the blockchain platform, which is our blockchain platform. It's also completely transparent. So in the past, all of those initiatives didn't come to fruition in the way that the people hoped. They all kind of fizzled out, didn't they? The other reason was they weren't backed by anything. The token is backed by sweat equity. And that's the difference. The Bradbury pound it was almost just like your Green Shield stamp, and even that got wrapped up into something else. So the reason we feel it's different is it's fully transparent, it's on the blockchain, but more importantly, it is backed by sweat equity. And your second question was around, can we get going now? Yes, absolutely. What we're looking for is project coordinators or community coordinators. And what we'll be doing is releasing the sort of criteria or, for want of a better word, the sort of job spec, if you want to put it in old money, for how we can start those groups. So if you are interested yourself, that would be a great conversation to have.
There was was there another question about top down or bottom up?
Oh, yes.
So this is a bottom up thing. So what happens is, as you as community members in your town, you get together using the framework and the guidelines that we've set out. We all have to work by some basic organisation so that we're all doing similar things. But in this town or in your town, you would decide what projects you felt were needed in the town, what businesses you felt were needed. That's nothing to do with further up. And then you would present those to the One Small Town team, say, how does this sound? Is there any help we can get for this? Is there any better ideas? We'd have a chat about it. If you decided that creating a sock company was the best thing that you could do in your town, well, who are we to argue with that? As long as the numbers make sense, as long as the members benefit in some ways and you can show that, then it's really down to you. So I hope that makes sense. There's nothing that comes from top down. In fact, the only reason that the top can function is because the bottom are creating businesses and making profit, and then that tiny bit then goes back up the ladder to help them manage their systems. So it only works if the bottom works, if that makes sense. Next question.
Oh, hi, my name's Christina. I've just got a comment. I'd just like to say, for example, a really good idea. Obviously, they do my own research, and also, it was really just going to thank you for giving up your time and coming to sit with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's
Thank
really
you very
lovely of
much.
you.
Thank you.
Christina. Thank you. Good question.
These things work, desire to make them work, and they want to work together as a community, and that's why it works as well. With me and John will be part of it,
The thing is, you know, no one's coming. No one's coming. No one's going to burst through the door with a cape on, you know, and say it's all going to be okay now. You'll be able to answer that slide that says, "Are you happy?" Or everyone put your hands up because I'm going to sort it all out now. And we're not going to do that. The only people that are going to save yourselves, if that's what is needed, is you guys. And so all we can do is provide a bit of a framework and say that we've got this framework that everything that you do currently slots into. We're not coming along and saying, here's a brand new system, you either sign up here or otherwise that's it. You can still go about doing everything that you're doing right now. Just give you 3 hours a week, and then we can do a lot more. And so this is one way in which, for a little bit of time, and maybe getting more involved as well, we can actually start to improve the systems and improve our lives, improve our communities, start to build businesses that we believe will work. And, you know, like you say, working together cohesively, we can do a lot more than we've currently got. Who knows, in time, maybe fiat currency doesn't become a thing, maybe everyone uses tokens, who knows? We don't have a crystal ball, but if we start down this road now, then it's better that we do it now before we run out of time.
If the success of one single town, which will happen, is there going to be an opportunity for to benefit systems outside of one single town who are struggling? So obviously the one single town is benefiting them, but what about people who aren't members? So currently, you mentioned Supervision as an example, people who aren't members of the community. Is there going to be a facility with the success of that we would be able to help outside of the community? If that makes sense.
I think I know where you're going with this. So yes. So the example of a soup kitchen, for example, community projects that can operate that aren't for profit, if you see what I mean. So if there's a soup kitchen or homeless charities or something along those lines, then yes, we can certainly look to ways of funding them, ways of helping them, creating all sorts of different, I don't know how to say it, services for them or something along those lines. So the answer is yes. It's about coming forward with those ideas and seeing how we can help them. First of all, we almost have to not help ourselves, but to get the structure up and running so that so we've got good solid foundations to do that. Hello at the back.
She does wear a cape.
She wears a cape, yeah.
I arrived a bit in May. When I arrived, there was a presentation with a list of the things that won't be happening anymore. And then at the bottom there was one that do. And it said something like using tools of slavery, something like that.
Yes, so what we are doing is using the tools of slavery.
Yes. I think I heard that. Sorry, the mic's a bit echoey at the back, so not your fault. So, yes, so I think you missed the first slide, which was about what we are creating, which is community-owned business projects, where we share the profits amongst all the people that contribute their time. And then the second slide was just a clarification that we're not creating intentional communities. Sorry, my voice is going now. Sorry. And the tools of enslavement comes from the founder, Michael Tellinger, who actually wrote a book called Ubuntu about unity in the community. And he took on the banks in South Africa. And what he came to realise was that what we need to do is use the tools of enslavement, such as money, to create, what's the saying? Get tools of enslavement to liberate ourselves. So that's the point where you came in by the sounds of it. So get out of the systems by using the systems against them. Does that make sense for you?
Any more? Okay.
The lady.
I'd love to see in your big broad vision, your big global vision in 2050, that the system that we're paying tax to contribute that money into this public system? Because you said we're not going to stop paying taxes, and yet everybody paying taxes for services which are not giving us anything, hardly. So yeah, we have to pull money from that system.
Yeah. Yes, we do. But remember, we're going to use the tools of enslavement as tools of liberation. Now, some of those tools are the same tools that very rich people use. And as soon as we're able to start utilizing those tools to be able to ring fence our own community funds, then that's the kind of tools we'll also want to use. So yes, we want to play by the rules. We want to pay whatever tax we have to, but only what we have to. We want as much of that to go back to the community as we can. So wherever possible, we're going to have the right people in place that can help us work around that. Hopefully that answers your question. But.
We know that, but as an organisation, the minute we start to oppose the system is the minute we get shut down. And we have had bank accounts emptied and all those kind of things. So if we tick all the established boxes and look for lawful ways, so first of all, we would just tick, making sure that we've paid a bit of tax here, as I say, tick all the boxes. But we will be looking for lawful ways to shift in the direction. It doesn't stop us individually taking those routes that you mentioned, if you see what I mean.
The word that I have an issue with is you said we have to.
Well, I see what you're saying, but as I said, we've been shut down, we've had bank accounts raided, all from the established matrix situation. So we will look to do everything we possibly can to tick their boxes. Yeah, but when I said we have to, I can't remember what context.
You said we have to pay taxes.
Well, I absolutely know, and I'm totally with you on not paying taxes. So,
well, we have to.
No, I see what you're saying. What I'm going to say is we will be until we don't. So we are actively looking at ways of putting these legal entities into trusts and passing it on, etc. But if we start from there, that's where we're going to, we need to get going first. But I get it, and I'm totally with you.
When you decide to go and battle the system, there are consequences, and there's a lot of risk involved. Now, on an individual basis, some people are able to do that, and fair play to them. I wish them a huge amount of luck. But for a lot of people, that doesn't work out well. Now, if we're dealing on a community level, then we have a responsibility to look after community assets. We might have built businesses. We'll have community projects on the go. There'll be a lot to lose if we decide we want to start fighting people. The best thing we can do is play them at their own game, but do it better. Now, cast your mind forward. Remember the day in the life of. Well, imagine 10, 20 years down the road. There might be a huge swell of members in the UK. We hope there will be. We hope almost everyone will be a member. Now, that is a significant force. And if we decide then as a membership we want to do something different, I don't think that many people are going to be able to stop us from doing that. So over time, with building what we're doing, we then become a force to be reckoned with, someone they can't just push out of the way, not just an individual that they can take the house off. So as individuals, it's high risk. It's better if we just play the system they want to play, we're just going to do it better than they are. So that's the plan. Any other questions?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We talk about supporting the farmers. So how do you keep their fruit from poking the nose in their fraudulent PCR tests?
Say that again. So I didn't quite. Something about the farmers and PCR tests.
You say about supporting farmers, but how are you going to stop them from poking their nose in their fraudulent PCR tests?
I think it's the think tank, the PCR test.
You mean for the not for us? You mean not for humans? You mean for the cattle? I'm sorry. So as you can probably tell, I'm not from a farming background. I think what we need to do is there's a whole range of subjects, including farming, that need experts to form think tanks on. And this is where we could use anybody that's got the right knowledge to start to bring this forward so that we can look into how we can assist in those ways. We don't have a framework to fight DEFRA, but what we do have is a community that's willing to, or hopefully have a community that's willing to join forces to sort out whatever kind of knowledge we need.
I should add to that as well. I'll just add that there are a lot of problems that various members of the community face. The farmers is a particularly terrible one.
There's nothing more important than farmers, is
No, we agree.
Yeah. What we can't do, Giulia and I, is solve these problems today. We can't solve them tomorrow. We're unlikely to solve them in the next year. This is why we need to start working on things now, so that we can start to put teams together, we can get communities working together, we can draw in experts, have think tanks, start to look at action plans. Unfortunately, we don't wear a cape, and until communities start building their own hubs and doing their own projects and getting the right skills in place, then there is going to be problems. We're not going to be able to address them, and we'd like to, but right now, there's two of us doing this, and we're looking to build a hub. That's the best place, the only place really that we can start. Okay, is that all the questions?
Spot on 10 o'clock. Yes. Yes.
I'm sure we could talk.
Yes, I'm sure we can. If you do have any other questions that you think of after you leave or that we haven't been able to answer, then you can just email BritishIsles@onesmalltown.org. And we currently have restarted a podcast that we're doing. We're going to look to answer as many questions as we can. And often these questions are among a lot of questions very similar. So we're going to group these sort of questions together, do deep dives into various topics. We hope we'll cover everything. So by all means, send us your questions. Above all, if you like what you've seen today from us, then please sign up as a member. It's completely free to do so. If beyond that you think you want to get involved more, you know of a building or you know of a team or whatever it might be, then send us an email and tell us. Make sure you learn about One Small Town and have a discussion with us. At our time, as you can imagine, we get pulled all over the place. So, but if something comes up that we think actually this could be a really good course of action, then we'll happily have a discussion about it. So, listen, thank you for your time. I realise we've taken up a few hours.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's lots and lots to think about, isn't there? It's really nice to have a whole group of people who want to make change, who are prepared to listen and think of ideas. Well, and so thank you so much for coming and talking to us and travelling so far to do that. And if anyone would be so good as to help clear up chairs or washing up or just help us tidy up, you have time to do that. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Thank you to you.